So good morning, everyone. We appreciate you and the media being here with us today. This is critically important that we get the message out. I'm Bronx Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr. I am here with my Deputy Borough President, Marricka Scott-McFadden. We're here with the Assembly member in the area, Kenny Burgos. We are here with Dr. Tayat and also a good friend and a huge sponsor of SOMOS, which I'll speak about in a minute, but Henry Munoz. We want to thank everybody from the Health and Hospitals Corporation. We want to thank the state, the city. We definitely want to acknowledge and extend our appreciation once again to Dr. Tayat, Daisy Nunez, to Henry Munoz, and all of the great folks at SOMOS. SOMOS is a healthcare network, and it's comprised of, for the most part, Latino doctors who have their own practices, have their own things going on, and yet have come together as a medical conglomerate, if I can use that word, to do right and to do good by the Latino community, the city, the state, and beyond. And not only during COVID, but even prior to the pandemic, providing services and making sure that the residents of local communities get medical instruction in their native tongue. I've said this before and I have to say it again. When you get medical instruction in your native tongue, it increases your ability to combat whatever disease, whatever ailment exponentially. And so SOMOS and their doctors have come together knowing fully well what that means, and for that we want to say thank you. We want to say thank you to SOMOS because it was working with SOMOS here in the Bronx over a year ago when we knew very little about this coronavirus, when we knew very little about what it meant to us, and we were trying to figure out how to combat this. Testing was the way to go, but testing was scarce. Testing was not readily available. It was working with Henry Munoz, with Dr. Tayat, with the SOMO network, that we were able to get the first testing location across the street from Lehman College. And that happened early on in the pandemic. And every week, every day since, what we've seen from SOMOS and their doctors on a myriad of different levels is the affordability of testing to our community, vaccination to our community, but also they've seen the very worst of what COVID has done to us. And COVID has devastated us. The coronavirus took us from a borough where we were headed in the right direction, where we saw the unemployment rate last February of 2020, the lowest that the Bronx has ever seen, where we were seeing a boom. And just like that, in the last 13 months, what we were able to accomplish in terms of employment, in terms of health indicators, in terms of economic development, dissipated and was decimated by COVID. And we are here today to say that we're not out of the woods yet. We know that a lot of folks feel like because the numbers are down, because we don't see those horrific images of people being put in entire hospitals, or we don't see folks in body bags. We see that the weather is getting warmer. People are starting to get too aggressive, and they're starting to miss the point. And the fact of the matter is that for us to get to where we need to be, we need to get vaccinated. I got vaccinated today, received my first Moderna shot. The Deputy Borough President, the Assembly member, we were vaccinated today, and this is our call for minorities, for blacks and Latinos in particular. We know that there's stress, and we know that there's high anxieties, and we know the history about medical experimentation in our communities, but we are living proof that the vaccine was fast, it was at no cost, it was easy, it was painless, and this is what works. I was able to convince my parents, who are in their 70s. I said this before, Dr. Tayat. I returned the favor, and I'm asking young people to do this to their parents and their grandparents, because they're the ones who took us to get vaccinated when we were little. For anybody who has questions about vaccines, we all have been vaccinated in one way, shape, or form. My parents brought me, so I brought my parents. And then lastly, before I turn it over to Dr. Tayad and then the assembly member, I wanted to say that the vaccine, whichever vaccine you get, is a game changer. What do I mean by that? This past Saturday, April 10th, was the anniversary of the death of Carmen Acevedo. Carmen Acevedo passed away last year due to COVID. Carmen Acevedo is mommy or was mommy's best friend. Carmen Acevedo was my babysitter. She babysat my siblings as well. Carmen Acevedo, when she passed away, we couldn't mourn her the way we were supposed to. We couldn't go to a funeral. We couldn't go to a wake. We couldn't go visit her when she was sick in the hospital. Carmen Acevedo was family. And so many of you who are out there know a Carmen Acevedo in your life. Because of the vaccine, though, in the last week, my mother, who's been vaccinated twice, she was able to do two things. One is that we went to the cemetery with Carmen Acevedo's family to properly mourn her. Without the vaccine, mommy would have never been able to do that. Number two, because of the vaccine, last week, mommy and papi are also first-time great-grandparents. And they were able to hold little Grayson and be with the entire family. Without the vaccine, mommy couldn't do that. So it's a game changer. And that's what we want everybody to do. Brevemente en el español, me llamo Ruben Diaz Jr., soy presidente del condado del Bronx. Le quiero dar...
I'm going to be very brief. The statement is important. You see, making an example, he said, he brought his father a few weeks ago. We witnessed that. All of you out there who other parent hasn't get the vaccine because they could be afraid, this is the time to bring your parents. Plenty places to get the vaccine now. Please do so. Remember, this vaccine is saving lives. Today, he gets the vaccine. How old are you today?
I'm 47.
Probably 46 years ago, his parents brought him to get the vaccine to the primary care, to the community doctors. That's what we are, community doctors. And we've been here from the beginning, and we will continue doing that because it's our duty, our mission. We have, thanks to the Lord, we have taken care of the poor. We've been feeding people who were hungry in difficult times, testing, and trying to cure and take care of the people in our neighborhood. And today is an example here. We will continue doing so until we get the strength. But the most important is for you. I keep saying that every time. The virus, the solid 2 virus, could kill you. The vaccine of hope, the way me and Henry call it, could save you. Come to get the vaccine. En español, muchas gracias por estar aquí. A todos los líderes nuestros que están con nosotros y a la gente de SOMOS. Hoy es un día importante porque vemos cómo realmente seguimos trabajando. La vacuna es muy importante. Vengan a ponerse la vacuna. Hace un tiempo atrás Rubencito trajo a sus padres y él decía que estaba reciprocando lo que sus padres hicieron 40 y pico años atrás cuando lo llevaron a ponerse la vacuna. Sin él saber.
SOMOS healthcare system could not happen without visionaries who saw the need in not only New York, but in many different states, Texas, Florida, New Jersey, Connecticut. And this is a really, really big healthcare network of doctors, but they need visionaries and people to push government so that we can partner up with them. And they've proven to be at the forefront in our cavalry in saving lives. And one of those visionaries is with us here today, Henry Munoz.
I want to thank the City of New York, and I want to thank its leadership. I want to thank the Bronx Borough President, Ruben Diaz, for a life of public service, and his deputy. And I want to thank the Assemblyman for choosing a life of public service. This isn't an easy thing we're doing. If anybody had told me a year ago that we would have tested hundreds of thousands, almost 1 million people fed millions of people, vaccinated hundreds of thousands of people in order to bring life back to a neighborhood like this, I would have left. It is the mission of SOMOS under the visionary leadership of my partner Ramon Diaz to take care of people, because we live in a country in which people of color have not had access to health care, haven't had access to quality health care. People go hungry, people lose their jobs, people get sick. And the one answer to this entire situation is the vaccine that the president just had. So I want to thank him for having the courage to have the vaccine. I want to thank the line of people who are going to get the vaccine. It is true, hope is here now. And the only thing that will make sure that there is no death sentence is this vaccine. I want to say, I woke up this morning to read a series of news articles that says more of us, right, more Latinos, Black people, Asian Americans have failed to get the vaccine. It's harder to speak our languages. People don't care about coming to neighborhoods that are neighborhoods of poverty. And so we are lagging behind in receiving the vaccine. So this demonstration of leadership by the city, by the state, by our leaders themselves, the people who have chosen to become public servants, is incredibly important. And so on behalf of SOMOS, we want to thank you for being good partners. We want to thank you for making the commitment to us to create places like this place today where we can offer the vaccine of hope, la vacuna de la esperanza, to the people of New York City. Thank you.
And we're here in Hunts Point, my old assembly district. I used to be the assemblyman in the area. And we are experiencing a great future leader, not only in this neighborhood, but in the Bronx and throughout the city of New York. We have taken this long because we've gone through the process like everybody else. We don't want anybody to think that we skipped any lines or anything. So it took us this long, and the assemblyman was also up in Albany working on the budget, but he's now done with the budget, and we were able to now get our wait listing off, or we waited the time that we needed to, but he's with us here today, Assemblyman Kenny Burgos.
I think it's okay to take a mask off. I'm half vaccinated now, so.
It takes a couple of weeks.
Well, the second one will be a lot better. But I really want to thank the BP, the Deputy BP, the team at SOMOS for an excellent job being here. As we said, just a year ago, I was wearing gloves and no mask, right? I mean, we literally had no idea what we were up against. We had no idea how to address this. And here we are a year later, just 1 year later, and we've accomplished so much. Thousands, hundreds of thousands tested. Over 100 million people in this country already vaccinated. But more importantly, we're right here in Hunts Point. And this is a zip code, this is an area that was really the hardest hit during COVID. With unemployment, with infection, with death. This is an area that has been traditionally forgotten by our city. So standing here as a representative of this area, it's amazing to see not only a line of people ready to get the vaccine, a line of people from this community, Black and Latino, minority people who want to get the vaccine and are also being served by people who look like them. That builds trust, and that's what we need. It builds trust in government. It builds trust in medicine. It builds trust in this community for us to now recover, because that is the theme now this year. It's recovery. We want to get to a point where we were. The Bronx was and always is going to be the most incredible borough in New York City. And now, when we get this vaccine, we will stand to that title again. So it's amazing to see this today. I am so happy to be vaccinated myself. I really want to thank everyone again. I mean, this is absolutely incredible. And please, I stand here urging everyone. This is not over. I know it's nice weather. We're feeling good. We have a better climate, but we need to get vaccinated. We need to stay healthy. And this is how we're going to build back better and get on the road to recovery. So thank you all very much. Where's my mask?
So very quickly, I just want to again thank the city of New York. I want to thank the Department of Human Resources Administration, Department of Social Services. You know, SOMOS means we are in Spanish. And for the most part, the doctors that they have are Latinos, but this is an effort among all of us. I'm Puerto Rican, born here in the Bronx. Papi and Mami are from Puerto Rico. We know the history of how Puerto Ricans were treated in terms of medical experimentation in years past. When you look at our African American brothers and sisters, we look at Tuskegee and that experiment. So we understand the anxiety. But even though SOMOS means we are in Spanish, they're here to serve everyone. And that's why I'm here with my Deputy Borough President, our Deputy Borough President, Marricka Scott-McFadden.
Good morning. I'm thrilled to be here because as I take my vaccine, I think about all of the many Bronxites who have lost their lives preparing for this day, when they're able to take a vaccine, when they're able to get that vaccine of hope. And I know that there's a lot of folks in our communities, people of color, African Americans, who are looking at us today and they're skeptical, and they're rightfully so skeptical of so many things that are happening in medicine. But today is not the day to be skeptical. Today is the day to receive that vaccine of hope, because that's what it is. It's hope for a future. It's hope for returning to something that looks like normal, and it's returning to our families, returning to our seniors, returning to our students. I am a mother. I have a young son. He's not that young, but I speak to him every day that when the opportunity comes, we will stand in line to get this vaccine so that we can have a better day, hope for tomorrow, and hope for everyone else. So I hope that anyone that hears and sees me today take this vaccine, I'm doing that not just for me, not just for my family, but anyone that I can possibly influence to do the same thing. So thank you.
Thank you, Madam Deputy. Any questions? Do we have it all covered? Hearing none, thank you. Have a nice day. Now go ahead, Carl.
The doctor talked about the Johnson & Johnson and just what kind of impact that will have on this community and the one, the stadium, the vaccine site.
Well, certainly we commend what the FDA and the CDC has done. We agree. We had to put a pause to take a look, to get more data. But anybody there who had get the vaccine already, if you are still within the third week of the vaccine, take a look for any sign or symptoms like headaches, abdominal pain. Just contact your doctor. We continue monitoring this situation. But let me tell you, this kind of situation with the clot thrombosis, it happens normally in the main population between 3 to 5 cases for a million. Now we have here 6 cases and 6 to 7 million. We have to take a look closely, and we are aware with authority to be sure. And as of today, it's not going to be given. We continue come back probably the Yankee Stadium with the Pfizer until new decision of the CDC and the FDA.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you all. Thank you. We appreciate again you all being here. Thank you. Get vaccinated. Get vaccinated is the message here today.